What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Corner Podcast. Kel Dansby here with the old man Andreas and Kel. Talked so much combat already this week. Pro Wrestling Podcast is up and out there. MMA, talked about that, the moving parts, Conor McGregor, everything else going on. And then, of course, it's all about Tank Davis and the co-main event, David Benavidez, this weekend here in Vegas. There's also Super Matias fights in Puerto Rico this weekend. There's good fights everywhere. There's a good fight on DAZN from the UK. But man, the quote-unquote face of boxing, Dre, is here at the MGM. Before we dive into the fight and what we think and everything else, shit's a little weird between him and Floyd Mayweather.
Weird. No, this is bad. These two don't like each other.
It's flying a little under the radar, but now it's starting to affect a lot of different shit. Carmel Moten, who he's had on the show several times, one of the best young prospects, just disappeared from the card last week.
Yep.
It was going to be a very high-profile fight for him. Gone from the card. Leonard Ellerby's on here, advising Tank, whatever Tank may need, with Tank's promotional company, and he's done that for years. And suddenly, Floyd then announces Leonard is taking time away and stepping down from a position he's held with Floyd for the better part of 2 decades to spend more time with family. And Richard Schaefer is going to be in and take the next step in Mayweather Promotions. But I just saw Leonard and looked like he's still ripe and in the fight game. So a lot of moving pieces going on between the two. And then publicly on Twitter, Floyd has now 3 times on his Twitter story posted that this weekend's fight is canceled, where it clearly isn't. But for a casual fan, it might fuck around and stop you from buying it if you think, yo, Floyd, I saw this on Floyd, it's canceled. And then you wake up on Saturday and people are like, it's not canceled, it's going down. You'd be like, fuck, I would have bought it. Like, it seems like a weird tactic to put up the poster with a giant cancel sign. Several people call me and ask, what happened? It's canceled? What who got hurt? What's wrong? Nah, fam. I saw it on Floyd. What does that mean? And then now Tank is combating that. Tank called him some very not nice words on Twitter. And yeah, it's gotten ugly quick between Floyd and Tank. And it reminds me of like when people try to split from like Top Rank and Floyd left and he was supposed to be so different. But I think when you become a promoter, you just realize him, Oscar, you can have the best of intentions, but a promoter is a promoter at the end of the day.
Yeah. This, man, whatever happened, I think the problem with, all right, so I'll step back. So when I was young, I was in a youth group. And in the youth group, our youth advisor was also relatively young. And because of the nature of how close we were in age, even though there was still like gap, it was still like more peer than anything else. So when things got messy, without digging in too deep, and if anybody knows me, they know who I'm talking about, but I don't think enough people know me, care about this podcast. But nevertheless, when things got messy, I didn't look at it as my peer. I mean, I didn't look at it as like my mentor trying to make me better. I felt like my peer was tearing me down, right? Because we're too close in age and we're almost occupying the same space. So Floyd and Tank, even though they're like 17 years apart in age, they still move in the same circles, more or less.
But Floyd stayed around as a fighter for a long time.
Right. But in terms of their mentality, in terms of who they are, in terms of the people that they know, like, they still, there is no, it's not like he's the OG, but like the OG who's still on the block.
Yeah. Good
right?
comparison. Yeah.
And because he's still on the block, for whatever reason, depending on how you look at it, whether it's because of how Floyd moves or how Tank moves, they're offending each other in their space. You could look at it as maybe Mayweather's very protective over his legacy and doesn't want Tank to creep up on him. Or you could look at Tank being hard-headed and not listening to the advice of the OG. Because he's like, OG, you still on the block. Who are you to tell me anything?
Like an episode of Power.
Right. Like it's very weird. The dynamic is not of like Floyd Mayweather looks at Al Heyman as like the super OG. There will never be a situation where Floyd is like, fuck Al Heyman. He's not. Tank looks at Floyd like, I'll whoop your ass. That's how he looks at Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd Mayweather's like, come on, man. Like, I'll whoop your ass. I feel like there's a lot of pissing going on here. And now, to me, could be totally wrong. I feel like LRB's collateral damage. Now, Schaefer had announced that he started a new promotion like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Was it Ringstar or whatever the hell it was? Yeah. Disappeared. He's always been cool with Floyd after leaving Golden Boy. So this makes sense that they would slide Schaefer into this position. But the idea that Leonard Ellerbe is taking time out to be with his family, and we see him running the streets this week. I just saw him at the MGM 100 thing.
Yeah.
And it just tells me that there's been a power struggle between Tank and Floyd, which is, there's so many layers of this because, Tank, you got a lot of work to do.
Yes.
To catch up to Floyd. Like, you got a lot of work to do. Maybe you don't like the OG pissing in your Cheerios. Maybe you don't like the OG telling you, hey, man, like, because the crazy thing is, Floyd isn't too far from what you were. It just wasn't no social media. The domestic shit, like being in all these places where you shouldn't be at, getting your hands dirty and a bunch of dumb shit. Floyd's done that. And if he's telling you not to do it, then on one hand, you take his word for it because he's right. But on the other hand, you're like, but you still in the mud sometimes, Floyd. So who are you to tell me anything? So all of this is messy. I can't tell you who's right and wrong. I do think it's petty of Floyd to not only post the poster that the fight's canceled, which is like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
But he's also posting the UFC card this weekend, which is like, what are we doing, Floyd? Like, you're really trying to dissuade people from watching. Like, why go that route? And Tank, you don't need to call Floyd a bitch on social media. Maybe you should do that.
I mean, at this point, though, I can't tell him not to. Because he's actively trying to fuck with the one thing Tank and Mayweather hold dear, which is pay-per-view buys.
I mean, is it like Tank headlining against Frank Martin this weekend is the 100th major event at the MGM Grand?
Yeah. And they've really bigged that up.
Yeah, but that's always been Floyd's house. It's been Floyd's house for years. I don't know if that's got something to do with it. Like, I don't know what's going on. I just know from a boxing perspective, Tank's got so much work to do to catch up to Floyd. He's got so much work to do. Yeah. Like, say what you want about Floyd Mayweather, but that man retired undefeated. And no, he didn't make Tank money until he was in his 30s, until he fought Oscar and he had to bet on himself. But he had paved the way for somebody like a Tank to make the money that he's making and become as popular as he has been. I wish these two would just bury the hatchet and figure it out. Or not even bury the hatchet, just be like, yo, I don't fuck with you. You don't fuck with me. Let's not do this on social media.
Yeah, let's not make this as public as it has to be.
But
whenever stuff gets this public, it's been brewing for a long time private.
Sure.
It's just weird that Floyd's acting like the young one.
Yeah. I don't know. The poster, the canceling the fight thing is really childish to me.
Yeah, you're actively trying to fuck with his money.
That's like a big brother telling the girlfriend of the little brother that he's cheating, right? Like,
it is. It's dirty Mac.
Yeah, it's like, why? Yo, that's my bro. Like, why are you trying to block what I'm doing? Like, you may know that I'm, but the thing is, like, and bro, I'm not even cheating on her. Why are you doing this? Like, the fight's not canceled. Like, why are you doing this?
Just lying on him.
Messy, man. Messy. Sort of like how everybody's got beef with Drake and it always seems to be about some girl.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I feel like this is like the dumbest reason these two are beefing. Could be over the opposite sex, but who knows?
That'd be so weird. Again, that's some childish shit. Like, other people's already taking girls from you.
Bruh,
you'll be all right. You lose a girl every year. Nelly's with one of your girls, somebody else with one of your girls. Like, this is a commonplace for you. Yeah, if Tank did it, then it is what it is.
Anyway, how about we talk about these fights?
Yeah, it's ridiculous on that aspect. The fights, though, Tank versus Frank Martin, and then we'll talk about Benavidez. I think, and just reading from the buildup and being there fight week, this should be a pretty competitive fight for like 6 rounds. because Frank Martin's not scared per se.
No,
I
no,
like his demeanor coming into this. He is keenly aware of the mystique, and he brings it up all the time in interviews this week. People beat themselves before they get in the ring with Tank.
of course.
And it's like, I'm not going to do that. Like, he's very aware of this. But so was Errol Spence when he fought Terrence Crawford, right?
That's
Terrence
true.
was very loose. Like, this is as loose as I've seen Gervonta in years. The weight cut is easy, drinking water in Frank's face. Frank, you want some water? Oh, you can't have this, huh? That cut is Gervonta just he's disciplined in the gym. It's one of those things where the confidence now is turning into just fun. It's like, yo, all the work is there. He's having fun every step of the way. He's talking shit. You would think he's on the block in Baltimore. Like you playing pickup basketball. Like there's no stakes to this. Like it's just
Yeah.
comfy. But Frank is handling it well. I just think when he steps in the ring, he's gonna find out in 3 or 4 rounds, like there's levels to this shit. And I
I'm
just don't think he's that level.
yeah, I mean, obviously I'm picking Tank to win. And I'm not blown away that Frank Martin is like a plus 750 underdog,
Mhm.
but I'm blown away that there's that much disrespect towards Frank Martin, given that Gervonta hasn't really fought anybody,
He
right? Like,
clearly fought Ryan. We got that narrative's gone, Trey. It's
mm,
done. He fought Ryan. I don't care what Ryan was on. He fought Ryan and made it look relatively easy. Where regardless of what the hell Ryan was on, Devin Haney never made it look easy, and Haney's a hell of a boxer. He's fought someone now. He has. That narrative's gone. Because
it's
Ryan
not.
turned around and beat the shit out of someone we thought possibly could beat Tank.
Yeah, but the issue that I'm having is okay. One, Ryan Garcia was weight drained. Speaking very clear about this heading into
Sure.
that fight.
He was. You
He
can't
was
say he was.
compromised. He was blown up against Devin. You saw the difference in everything with
Yeah.
Ryan.
But he was the opposite of compromised against Devin.
Yeah, he was. That's what I'm saying. So it's hard for me to. I'm not saying Tank is not good. This is not my point. My point is Tank hasn't had to really deal with adversity in a boxing ring, and I'm not saying Frank Martin's definitely going to bring it out of him, but I'm still of the mindset that until you get punched in the face, I can't make Frank Martin a plus 750 underdog. It may turn out that way regardless, but neither is like obviously Tank has fought Isaac Cruz, who we've come to find out is a good fighter, right? But
Yeah.
we didn't know this before. Other than that, Hector Garcia, like a tiny Leo Santa Cruz.
Mario Barrios has looked great since
But again, what's Barrios fighting at right now?
147. Different weight.
This is why I look at Tank. Like I think when I see Tank on these pound for pound rankings, I think it's too soon. I really do. I don't think Tank is more accomplished than Teofimo Lopez. I just don't.
He's
That,
not.
like
As a resume, he's not.
like he's not even close to Tio in terms
No.
of the quality. He's not close to Devin in terms of quality before the Ryan Garcia fight. He's not.
No. Devin with the one loss is still more accomplished
Yeah.
than Gervonta.
So I think Tank skills translate. I just need to see him tested. Like what happened with Tim Tszyu and Sebastian Fundora was that we saw Tim Tszyu tested really for the first time in his career. And he loses a fight that, I mean, blame it on the cut, whatever
Yeah, I
happened.
think it's the cut.
But now I know that Tim Tszyu can deal with adversity, right? And he's not going to fold under pressure. I don't know what happens if Gervonta gets cracked a really good time. I don't think Frank's going to be the guy to do it, but I'm really fascinated that people are on this Tank bandwagon as strong as they are. Like I think Tank is a really good fighter. I just need to see him tested. And I wonder if he gets tested at some point this weekend. I wonder if Frank does something that surprises us. And because I think a lot of people don't know who Frank Martin is. And if you looked at his last performance, you kind of wrote him off.
Yeah.
But Frank looks like the future. He looked like the future of the lightweight division at one point. And, you know, being around Errol and Derek James, even though it doesn't look as good now because Terrence Crawford and beat the whole goddamn gym in one night, right? it makes you think like, man, are we like underestimating Frank Martin? Because Frank's not scared of Tank.
No.
Frank's gonna come to fight. He might get fucked up, but he's gonna come to
Yeah.
fight.
I think he gets stopped just because Frank Martin's shown that he does get hit a little bit.
Yeah.
And
No,
it's
he's
not the guy.
susceptible.
Yeah, it's not the guy to get hit against. But that just kind of happens to everyone. I don't expect him to just get like run over and outclassed though. Like Mario Barrios, for all purposes, is fighting a really good fight.
He was.
That
He
shit,
was.
like the ninth round, he got hit with a body blow and never came back.
Yeah.
And he was out of there by the 10th.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
expect it to go somewhat similar, where Frank Martin's a good fighter. I've heard Tank in an interview this week said he has to up the volume of punches.
Yeah.
That would be smart. But if he does not, then it's like I could see this being a 5-4, 4 rounds to 3 fight. When Tank catches him with something, it's just hard to recover.
Yeah. I think there's no denying Tank's power. It's like you just can't deny it. The guy, he's a home wrecker, right? He's gonna send you home and have your wife and kids. Like, what happened to you, daddy? Like, that's what he does to people. But I just need to see him get hit. He's not getting hit by anybody. He's not being
Is
cracked by
that a
big
good
punches.
thing? Like
I mean,
that's a pretty good thing.
it's
Rolly had pop, never really hurt him.
Rolly's no good,
Uh
right?
Ryan stumbled him,
I
but
mean,
but he planted and said, I'm not gonna run. I'm gonna
yeah,
put my back foot in the dirt. And he hit Ryan with something crazy off of that. But he
it's
said Ryan hits like a truck. He said that in every interview since. He
and
said he
this is
was scared when he
and
fought Ryan.
and that was a weight drained Ryan
Yeah,
Garcia,
yeah,
right? So Ryan Garcia has like a unique set of skills that could offset a Tank Davis, right?
yeah,
Where Tank can be like, oh shit, I can't just run in because this guy's gonna catch me. But Ryan Garcia's defense stinks, and
yeah.
that's what's always gonna ruin him. I don't know who the fighter is at 35 or 40 that gives. I mean, I know it's T.O. Like if he fought T.O., I think that's a fucking dynamic fight because now Tank has to think.
Yeah.
Tank hasn't really been forced to think. Tank makes like small adjustments. He did against Ryan. He's like, all right, not gonna catch me that shit again. He's gonna finish the job. I just got to see what Frank Martin does when the going gets tough, and I want to see if Frank does he go after Tank early and try to put him on his back foot, or does he try to make this a chess match to figure out what he has? Because the problem with fighting Tank is you don't really know until you get in there with him how
Yeah.
hard he hits, how fast he is, and Gervonta's not a Floyd Mayweather download information guy, right? Because he just waits for his opening, and once he takes it, it's like, oh, this is different. And
He doesn't
Frank might
give you
find out,
anything to download. And in turn, you're scared as hell to give him anything to download.
right?
So he
It's
slows people's output a lot.
yeah, you don't want to get countered, right? Like you
No.
don't want to get caught.
Ryan said, fuck that in the first 2 rounds. Looked good. Threw everything at Tank. Tank caught him in the second round. I was like, oh, and then he fell into the trap
Yeah,
where he just stopped throwing and Tank waited and he's gonna outweight you and land better.
yeah, he's stronger, he's faster, he's very precise. Like he's got a brilliant uppercut. He's very good on
Yeah.
counters. I just gotta hit the guy, and it's like fighting Mike Tyson because when all you see is videos of Mike Tyson killing people, then you think I'm never gonna go in. And Evander Holyfield was that one dude, like yeah, Buster Douglas too, but Evander was the dude that was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna fight him. I'm gonna stand in the pocket exchange with him, and he managed to be strong enough. But you got to have a lot of qualities including balls, to say, you know what, I'm just gonna stand in the pocket and trade with this dude.
Yeah.
I don't think Frank hits hard enough to trade with him, but we'll see. I'm picking Tank by stoppage, but I'd like to see Gervonta get tested because I think it would be good for Gervonta to get not buzz, but
But
get
yeah,
hit with something.
like Devin. Devin got
Yeah,
hit early and then kind of,
Linares.
yeah, even against Ryan, got hit
Yeah,
early, shook that shit off. It was the second time that he could not.
well,
But the
yeah,
first time he got hit, stumbled, and then Ryan got the knockdown, I think. But then, Devin took a couple rounds, and I was like, all right. And then, yeah, he got hit again, and it was curtains.
yeah. He just
But
got beat up after that.
yeah, yeah, I'd like to see Tank, have to kind of, go through some. Tank Subriel Matias, who also fights this weekend, would be one hell of a fight
That's scary.
because Subriel's not doing anything defensively, and he's not letting you compute shit. He's just
No.
gonna overload your computer and say, "What do you got?"
Yeah, if you have the zone this weekend and if you got multiple screens up and You happen to catch, you happen to want to watch Subriel Matias versus Prio. Is that his fight?
Para?
Paro, yes.
Yeah.
Watch that fight. Just watch what he does because Matias is a machine.
It's a
And
systematic breakdown of a human being.
yeah, it's just he just beats people up.
Yep.
And it ain't pretty. And I don't mean it in a bad way. It's not pretty. It's not pretty because you watch fighters' expressions change when they fight Subriel Matias. They're like, fuck.
Because it just doesn't stop coming. It's just waves.
Yeah,
And
it's
waves and
waves
waves.
of punishment, and it
And they're just
hurts.
waiting for it to break. They're
Yeah,
waiting for it. Yo, can I get a break? Can I catch my breath? And no, it just keeps going.
yeah.
And then
So
yeah,
you should watch him this weekend because he's the guy that nobody really wants to fight right now. And Montez is another one. Like he's actually lost the fight. People
yeah,
like he's lost the fight. And on the other side of that, he's killed a man in a boxing ring. So it's like I don't
yeah,
know what you take away from this, but Super El Matias is the boogeyman that nobody's like looking forward to fighting, and he's
yeah.
fighting this weekend.
Because you
So
could maybe out technical him, but
you can.
you better be on your bike and be very sharp for 12 rounds.
Yo, it's like fighting a boss in a video game who has this crazy health bar, and you're like, oh, I'll just run in and stab a bunch, and I will, and then he hits you one time and you're dead.
Yeah.
One hit kills. It's like Matias. Like you can't really do that. You got to have a strategy to fight that guy.
Yeah. You spoke on that in like one of our video game episodes where you're like, yo, I had to figure out how to fight and like you had to jump on a box and then hit the guy. Like it was very intricate on how
Yeah,
to beat this one boss in the game. I forgot what game it was. But it was like it might have been like the Solid Snake game or something.
but you
One
might
of
have
their
been Metal
Solid.
Gear Solid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something where it was like way too intricate for the average human being to figure out. And then you're like, yo, I lost so many times and then finally had to beat him.
yeah.
So yeah, it's one of those things when you fight Subaru Matias. And then co-main event, David Benavidez moving up to 175. It's still been a lot of Canelo talk this week.
As it should be.
Um, and this isn't an easy fight at all, by the way.
At all, Gvozdyk is good.
Gvozdyk is good. What was it? Him and Beterbiev for unification a couple years ago? Who did he lose the belt to? I
Or
think
was it
so.
Duvall? I can't remember.
Yeah, I'll look it up. But no, he is good. And it's one of those things where he hasn't been very active past couple years. So that, all right, cool. That gives at least something for you can look at it and be like, oh, but people are like, yo, they're giving Benavidez a can. I was like, excuse me.
They are not.
I was like, this is in terms of like your first fight up, this is not quite Teofimo just jumping up and wanting to fight Josh Taylor, but it's not far off.
He did lose a better BF.
It was better be it. Yeah.
He knocked him
So
out.
yeah, they were on a collision course, and that was for the 3 belts. That's how Better BF has the 3 belts now. Because Better BF had 1,
Yep.
and this was for all 3. And Better BF, though, he gave Better BF hell.
He did.
But
Because
Better BF had to walk through the fire and ended up stopping him in the 10th. But it was easily to date the hardest fight for Artur Better BF. And he beat the shit out of Adonis Stevenson as well.
Well, that was the thing. That was the eye opener. I think I was watching it was the Adonis Stevenson fight. I was in LA. It was at Staples. And I remember I was in the press room. I think it was Errol and Sean, maybe. And because Top Dog was there. And I was sitting there going, watching Gvozdyk, and I was like, I don't know what Adonis has left. He's old as shit, but he's always got a bazooka of a punch. And Gvozdyk just went in there and beat the dog shit out that man.
Yeah.
And he's one of these Eastern Europeans they could fight. That being said, like, this is my main event because Dave Benavidez is my favorite fighter to watch because he has video game combinations. Like, it's not fair what he does to people in the boxing ring. Like, everybody saw what he did to Boo Boo, and we could have seen that coming. But you got to, like, you go through his career, he just does this to everybody. He had Caleb Plant with everything.
Yep.
Right? But the fight is centering around Canelo because there's no reason Canelo's not fighting this man outside of him being scared. Like, there's scared to lose. I can't understand it. And Benavidez is like, well, I'll just go up to 75 because I'm big and I'll fight Gvozdyk. And I see Benavidez winning this fight. I don't know it'll be a damn shame if Canelo never fights this man, right?
Yeah.
It really will be. Like Floyd gave you that opportunity. Like you should pay it forward, sir. Like
Put the kid over.
you can't like when nobody wants to see you fight Berlanga. Like cut it out, right? Like there's nobody unless it's Terrence Crawford. We don't care. And Benavidez, if he goes out here and he knows it, that's the thing about Benavidez. He knows it. The way he's talked all week, he knows it. He knows he has to try to wipe the floor with this man. Because if he does, he gets on that stick and he's like, all right, look, better be a Bivol, one of y'all. But Canelo, what's up? Are you going to keep running from this smoke?
Tough fucking fight. Because Artur Beterbiev, again, your only loss being to Artur Beterbiev is pretty damn good.
It's pretty good. But Gvozdyk, outside of it, a washed up, Adonis was kind of washed up. Outside of that, he's not really fought anybody. This will clearly be Gvozdyk's toughest opponent since Beterbiev, right? But you're right. He gave Beterbiev problems for 10 rounds. I don't
see in 2023, he smoked the two dudes that he fought.
Yeah. I just don't see very many people dealing with the pinpoint accuracy of David Benavidez's combinations. Because we were just talking about Matias. Benavidez is accurate. Is the scariest thing about David Benavidez is once those combinations start coming, it's not like he throws the same combination. Yeah. It's not like you can go, 1, 2, 2, 1. Like it is from everywhere.
See the man throw 18 uppercuts in 3 minutes.
And he throws them because they're necessary to land, right? Yeah. It's not what I think people don't understand. If anybody's ever hit mitts before and you get told to do things, 1, 2, 2, 1, body, like you do that inherently. So when you get in a boxing ring, your mind says 1, 2, 2, like you do what you do on the mitts. At some point in David Benavidez's life, he was like, now I'm just going to use the punches that are going to hit the target, right? There is no 1, 2. There, what it is like, what do I need to do to hit this guy? Oh, he's leaning to the left. Oh, short left hook, uppercut, jab, jab, jab. And I'm just going to keep throwing because the thing that Benavidez does that nobody else in boxing does, he lands almost every punch in the fucking combination.
Oh, yeah. When you're open, you're open.
Like once he gets you moving for I can't remember what fight it was. Oh my God. I got to think of what it was. Because he did it to Andrade and like he does it to pretty much everybody that he fights. I need to look this up really quick because it was it Ronald Ellis? Ronald Ellis stood up for 11 rounds and it was like an avalanche because the fight starts. Benavidez, you can see like, oh, I'm bigger and stronger than this dude. And Ellis he's in the game, right? He's boxing. He's in the game. He's taking good punches. By like round 7, a 3-punch combination is now a 7-punch combination. A 7-punch combination turns into like a 9-punch combination in like round 10. And there's a series, I think it's in between rounds 8 and 11, where Benavidez knows where he's going. So if he hits him with a left jab, with the left, he knows where his head's going to be. So here's the right. And when he knows when he hits him with the right hand, he's going to step to his left. I'm going to hit him with this. Like he knew where he was going. So the combination was so nasty that Ellis was like, yo, he's going to have CTE after that fight because he couldn't get away from it. If David gets you in that spot, which I think he's going to do to Gvozdyk at some point, where he's going to be able to figure out exactly where Gvozdyk's going to be or how he's going to react to certain punches, it's going to be hell. It's going to be hell, and it's going to go viral. And it's going to be another one of those videos where David just throws punches and just don't give a fuck about what's coming back because now you're just overwhelmed.
Yep.
To me, again, he's the most exciting fighter in boxing because I can't figure out another human being that unleashes combinations with the changes in speed, power, location. Nothing looks the same.
He was fighting Golovkin at 15 years old. Just sparring for Golovkin is like his number one sparring partner.
Him and Kovalev. He was a fat kid sparring these dudes. I said it on this show. I was with Abel Sanchez. And Abel was like, yo, go look in the gym. And I went in the gym and I didn't know who he was, but this kid was taking hell and then giving it right back. The only thing that beats David Benavidez is his lifestyle. That's it.
Which people now seems like he's a little bit more of a family man.
Sure. But we just don't know, right?
We don't know. You never know.
Like you do cocaine once, I'm never going to put it out of your mind that you can't do it again.
That's fair.
But I've seen people say, well, he's he doesn't have great defense. Well, he showed that against Caleb Plant. Like his offense is his defense, but he slips punches really well and puts himself in position to counter. He's big, he's strong, he's young. I don't know how we don't talk about how young this dude is to doing all the things that he does. He's not reached his physical prime yet. That's
No.
fucking goofy. Like a kid this young throwing these kind of combinations hasn't reached his. The only person who can beat him is himself. I think he steamrolls Canelo, and I know people are like, but it's Canelo. I know. I've
So
just seen nobody deal with a guy like this. I think he's gonna flush Gvozdyk down the toilet, man. I think by round 10, it's gonna get real bad. And if depending on Gvozdyk's corner and how they feel about what's happening, this fight might get stopped late.
yeah, I'm picking a stoppage too, but damn, if he does, yeah, sky's the limit. I mean, Dimitri Bivol has the skill set to kind of slow down and outclass a really, really good offensive fighter. And we'll see against Better
Yes,
Beat.
he does.
So
Yes.
it'll prove if I'm right about that or not. If Arthur can cut off the ring and corner him, Bivol might be in for a night. But that jab is a very unique and dangerous weapon for Dimitri Bivol. With
Oh,
the
it
movement,
disrupts. Yeah, it disrupts everything.
yeah. So he's a guy where I look at and say, well, that would be one hell of a fight with David Benavidez because the styles are so different. Everyone up here is kind of like a slugger. Benavidez is,
Yeah.
you know, if he fought Bivol, would be the only stylistic matchup that's kind of different. But I tell you, it's going to be one hell of a fight to watch. And again, this isn't easy. We'll end on this right now as we stand. And this is such a weird question, but I'd only ask it to you because you're a weird person. In your opinion of this, does David Benavidez have a better resume than Canelo Alvarez?
No, not yet. Not yet. It's coming. He has a better resume at 27 than Canelo did at 27. Canelo already fought Floyd. Um,
That's fair. I
but
mean, the Floyd one's a loss.
I know
So
but it's still Floyd, right? Like you
yeah,
still fought like the best fight in the world. I think Canelo, I've said it on this show before. Canelo's resume is a little smoke and mirrors at some points in his career. Like even his super middleweight run was like until Caleb Plant returns, which I'm hearing is going to be very soon.
yeah,
And if Caleb Plant just starts beating up people again, then I'm like, all right, well, that's a really good one in your resume. Like Callum Smith got nuked. Yadirin was no good. Rocky Fielding was no good, even though it was like a WBA regular title.
yeah. Billy Joe
Billy Joe
Saunders.
Billy Joe Saunders was good, and until he wasn't. I don't know how good Canelo is, and I think I do know how good he is because I can't take anything away from the Golovkin fights. Two of them. The third one, Golovkin was like old, but that resume is really good on paper. Just like Floyd's resume is really, really good on paper. We start peeling back layers like, well, when did you fight this guy? When did you fight this guy? Then it gets a little murky. Benavidez is not there yet because he hasn't fought enough people to even match Canelo's resume at this point in his career. But if he were to beat Gvozdyk, and if he were to beat Bivol or Beterbiev, now we're cooking.
Yeah,
Because I'm like, well, then who's going to beat this guy? Because to beat the man who beat the man who beat the man, because if Beterbiev beats Bivol and then Benavidez beats Beterbiev, well, you kind of beat Canelo too, right? Like, and if Bivol beats Beterbiev and you beat Bivol, you kind of beat Canelo too.
yep,
And you're still under 30. So no, not yet. He doesn't have that resume yet. Canelo still has one of the best resumes in boxing. Until you really want to scrutinize it. Ask Andre Ward. Andre Ward will sit here and pull back the layers on Canelo's resume. Still say it's good, but it's like it's not really as good as you think, but it's still very good. But nobody's resume outside of like Oscar De La Hoya, who I think has one of the most immaculate resumes in boxing, even though not wins and losses in terms of opponents and when he
yeah.
fought them. Like it's hard to find a resume like Oscar's, but Canelo's got a damn good resume, man. He's fought people. Cotto and Floyd and Shane and
The names are great. Yeah,
the names are outstanding. So David's not there yet.
David's on one hell of a pace for a 20.
He's on a tremendous pace. As long as you get people to fight him, that's all we ask. Get people to fight that man.
There's Saudi money out here now, Dre.
That's awesome.
It's a little easier today than we could say like even 3 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
There's just not enough Saudi money in the world to get Canelo in that ring.
He don't want to fight him.
There isn't. So we'll see how everything plays out this weekend. Again, shout out to everyone. Tons of combat sports this week. I'll be back next week. The old man's going on vacation. Well deserved.
Yep.
So I'll be back next week. We'll recap all of this stuff. We'll talk pro wrestling with producer Cole Bay as well. I'll put together something for Patreon too. That'll be like really fun to try to do next week. In the meantime, follow us, like, subscribe, wherever you guys listen to podcasts. Check us out on Patreon. If you're not on there already, what the hell are you waiting for? Corner Podcast on there. We appreciate you all. Till next time, we're out.
Peace.